Baldur's Gate 3 could possibly be Game of the Year, but I do have a couple concerns with the format of these Larian games, and I'm going to discuss them in this video. I am a huge fan of Larian. I love Divinity Original Sin series, and generally I like the style of their games, but a couple things about Baldur's Gate 3 are really grinding my gears, as they say. Mainly the level 12 level cap of this game, and the fact that Larian has not announced any DLC yet. First, level 12 is a pretty mediocre level cap for a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition game. After level 13, your classes start to develop very unique abilities. A small example of this would be Warlock, able to enthrall humanoids, basically making thralls. That would be interesting to see, but every class has very interesting things, from shape-shifting, polymorphing, different summons, a lot of various max level endgame spells. And the fact that they're limiting us to level 12, you're not going to be able to see them in the vanilla game. Now, to play devil's advocate, a format like this, capping a Dungeons & Dragons game at level 12, is just leaving the door open for awesome DLCs, awesome expansions that, almost like World of Warcraft, will raise the level cap and give you endgame things, items, moves, and areas to discover. So hopefully Larian has DLC, but if not, this is a major issue. Another issue is the game, for the most part, for as vast as the choices are and the outcomes can be, is linear to a degree with the different acts, Act 1, 2, 3. In Larian, they are masters of this style of game with the different acts, but with no enemies respawning, this could be an issue. When you get to end game and you can't play around with your max level characters, you can't just go wipe out enemies. And this is a problem. Larian games, 9 out of 10 times, usually always, never have respawning enemies. But this, I think, is not a good thing. This promotes a min-maxing playstyle when you have limited encounters, limited enemies, and limited levels with a cap. This is not good for the casual RPGer and playing this game for roleplay purposes, making cool classes just to play around with. With the limited respawns and enemies, this does not benefit you. And especially at endgame, if there is no endgame dungeon or endless dungeon like Dragon's Dogma, for example, or other games like that, if there is no procedurally generated dungeon or a place you could go with respawning enemies, you are not going to get to a point in the game, and this is classic in RPGs, and I believe an RPG staple, where you finally have grinded, you have the levels and moves and items you want, and then before you go and fight the final boss and beat the game, you can just kind of explore the world, fight battles, play around, and I fear that Baldur's Gate 3 will not have this. The good news is Baldur's Gate 3 and Larian support modding and modders 100%. And already, without even the dev kit and modding kit officially being released, modders have made great mods for Baldur's Gate 3 for early access. They already have a whole expansion mod that raises the level cap to level 20 and adds skills and abilities to fit those levels. There's also extra magic and spell mods that add high-level spells to the game, higher schools of magic, and to fill in the gap between level 13 and 20. There's also various mods for weapon expansions, face and look customization expansions, class expansions with missing classes like the Hexblade and subclasses being added with mods. So the good news is mods will fix all these problems if you are on PC, maybe on consoles if modding comes to consoles, but with the history of modding on consoles, that could be limited. Only the very popular mods end up making it, which is still better than nothing. Another thing I fear with Baldur's Gate 3, and this is almost famous with Larian games, they do their best to make the games replayable, that you can go back with different classes, try out their different origin characters. But this is a double-edged sword. Not everybody does this. The average gamer is going to play one playthrough, hopefully finish it, maybe not even finish it. Really, the replays are for more of the advanced players, and especially going back to my previous concerns with no respawning enemies, playthroughs could feel stale after the second, third, or fourth time, after you've seen most of the different variations to the dialogue and choice options. You might not want to replay a fifth or sixth time. Still though, at that point you've gotten extreme value, hours to gameplay value out of this game. By that point you're probably going on 300 hours, 400 hours. For a $60 to $70 game, depending on where you are, that is extreme amounts of value. So, do I think Baldur's Gate 3 is eligible for Game of the Year? Absolutely. Even with these small flaws that I'm concerned about. Again, the main one, level 12 level cap. That is a little weird to me, because all these classes really start to come to fruition at level 12 and above. 13, 14, going up to level 20. And I really hope that Larian comes out with DLC and expansions, and at the very least modders will fix it. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that thumbs up button if you like this video. Consider subscribing for more awesome video game content, tutorials and guides. Consider sharing this with a friend that likes Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you like the level cap at 12? Do you like the different things I talked about that are concerning to me? Are they concerns to you? Let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching.